In this module, we will discuss the Energy Management System Audit Scorecard. The scorecard exposes you to typical assessment questions, helping you to become familiar with the standard audit practices and the requirements of ISO 50001. The audit scorecard provides a quantitative score for each area assessed. At the end of the audit, the individual assessment scores are consolidated to give an overall assessment score between 0 and 100. And after you've completed this module, Leonardo Energy will provide a scorecard on request. The scorecard system has a number of benefits. It facilitates continual performance improvement, showing how much more improvement is needed to give a full 100 score. It makes the auditing process more transparent. It encourages good preparation and a systematic approach by those audited. It helps minimize the time auditors must spend on site, and it encourages a continual improvement approach to documentation. Here's the factory floor plan of our case study organization. In order to audit all energy-related activities in the organization, 7 audit paths were devised. There's an audit path for each of the energy account centres and 2 further audit paths to assess top management as well as the energy manager and the operations committee. This slide, Scorecard 4.1 General Assessment, provides a handy overview of the auditing process. The scorecard consolidates results from all the scorecards prepared and completed across the case study organisation. You can see that the organisation's activities have been divided into 4 categories: top management, demand-side energy activities, supply-side energy activities, and miscellaneous activities. Each category has been given a weighting that reflects its importance in the performance of the energy management system. The activities of top management have been given a 30% weighting. Demand and supply activities have each been given a weighting of 31%, while miscellaneous activities such as legal and design have been given a weighting of just 8%. 8 audit paths have been created. 5 of the audit paths are concerned with the 10 energy account centres mapped on the previous slide, and there's an audit path for miscellaneous activities and 2 audit paths for the activities of top management. Audit Path 1 is concerned with the activities of the Energy Management System owner, while Path 2 looks at the activities of the system champion and members of the Energy Management Systems Operations Committee. This particular scorecard, 4.1 General Assessment, is part of the audit documentation required for Audit Paths 1 and 2 in the category Top Management. And here's a breakdown of the scorecards that need to be completed and gathered for each category. The file for the top management category is made up of 8 scorecards, a document review sheet plus 7 sub-scorecards. The topics are each marked with a red dot on this slide. Other categories have only 5 scorecards. They are indicated with a green dot on this slide. The top management category includes 4.2 management responsibility sub-scorecard and a 4.7 management review sub-scorecard. There's no equivalent scorecards in the other categories. Management responsibilities and review are topics that are only relevant to top management. And of course, the top management category also contains the 4.1 General Assessment sub-scorecard that you see on this slide and that on the previous slide. This scorecard, 4.2 Management Responsibility, is one of those that's only required for the top management category. The auditors provide a 0 to 10 score for the performance of each operation. Sometimes they also provide a score for documentation related to that operation, and sometimes they do not. We'll come to that a little later. The audit asks searching questions of top management. How do they evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of the team? How do they overcome organizational conflicts of interest? What kind of resources are needed to implement, maintain and improve the energy management system? And each answer is expected to be backed up with documentary evidence. And here you see that scorecards that have to be completed for all categories, such as 4.3 Energy Policy, also ask searching questions. How is the energy policy maintained and revised? How are energy objectives and targets set, and how do they ensure everyday activity is coherent with the energy review? And again, written evidence is expected to back up every claim. Over the next 3 slides, we will explain the scoring system for separate evaluations that are carried out during the Energy Management System audit. There are 3 evaluations: the operational performance, the document handling, and a third area of assessment, the quality and conformance of the relevant documentation. The results of the 3 evaluations are brought together in the last stage of the assessment to create a single evaluation score for the organisation being audited. This slide considers the operational performance scoring system, which is applied on scorecards across all categories. Before this audit begins, a weighting for each question between 1 and 10 is agreed between the auditor and the groups to be audited, according to the importance of that answer to the outcome of the audit. If you look back at the 2 previous slides, with the scorecards for 4.2 Management Responsibility and 4.3 Energy Policy, you will see that each question has been given a weighting. Questions that are considered more important in the energy management system's performance are given a weighting of up to 10, while other questions are given a much lower weighting of 1 or possibly 0. Next, the auditor examines each answer and, together with the outcome of the physical audits, creates a rating of between 0 and 10 for performance in that question. Then the rating and the weighting are brought together to categorize the outcome. By multiplying the rating by the weighting, a point score is created and recorded on the scorecard. The rating is also used to categorize the seriousness of any non-conformity with audit expectations using the 2 scales on this slide. Where a question has a weighting of less than 3, the minor field scoring guideline is used. Even the most serious non-conformity to requirements on a question with a weighting of less than 3 is categorized as a minor issue. If the weighting is more than 3, the second scale is used. Here, answers rated 1 and 2 are considered major non-conformities. Going through the full categorization at the bottom of this slide, MA denotes a major non-conformity, and as we said, that can only be applied to answers where the weighting is 3 or more. And since ISO 50001 concentrates on aspects that will lead to positive business development, MA is almost non-existent in energy management system categorizations, unless the auditee has knowingly ignored perhaps the legal requirements. MI denotes a minor non-conformity. OB denotes an observation, implying the issue is on its way to a minor non-conformity. Categorization, but if corrective or preventive action is taken, it will prevent that. FC denotes friendly comments, implying generally that it's okay. However, there's room for some improvement, while OK denotes conformity with a high rating. Here's the second evaluation, document handling. The term document handling here refers to the systematic documentation of progress in implementing and maintaining the energy management system, and whether that documentation convinces the auditor that the challenges posed in the question have been well understood. On this slide we have a short sample from our case study 4.5, Implementation and Operation Scorecard. The question on energy management action plans has been given a weighting of 5. It's an important issue. In fact, documentation handling scores are only taken into account for questions of importance, which have been given a weighting of 3 or more. No matter what the rating is, if the weighting is less than 3, no score will be recorded. Looking at performance in progressing the energy management action plans, the auditors have awarded a rating of 7, given a score of rating times weighting of a score of 35. However, the auditors have only awarded a rating of 6 for the document handling related to progress on the action plans. Rating times weighting is equal to a score of 30 for document handling. The third evaluated area is the quality and conformance of the documentation. Here the auditor uses one of three different rating systems: document status, document contents, or document specific rating. Which rating system is most appropriate must be decided before the audit. Once again, a score will be awarded by multiplying rating by weighting, and where the question has been awarded a weighting of less than 3, the score is not included in the overall assessment. On this slide, you can see how the scorecards are consolidated for each category and expressed as a percentage of a perfect outcome to generate one score and one percentage for each category. The quality and conformance scores for all documentation follows a similar path. They are totaled, having first been given a pre-ranged weighting to generate a single percentage total. In this case, 78.68%. Once each of the categories has a percentage score for operational performance, document handling, in the category ratings will be used to generate a single percentage score for each area. And the single score for document quality and conformance is also recorded on the Consolidated Scorecard 4.1 General Assessment. A single percentage score is automatically calculated based on the outcomes of the 3 evaluations for the entire audit.